Hey, how we doing? What should the project manager do? During a challenging stakeholder meeting, the customer indicates that they will reject the iterations deliverable. Okay, so where are we? I want to say iteration. So agile.
Nailing it.
And let's see what the problem is here. Well, obviously, the shareholder, during the challenging shareholder meeting, the customer indicates that they reject an iterations deliverable. What should the project manager do? All right, so hey, send a request to the project sponsor. No, I'm crossing that out right out the gate because we're not reaching out to the sponsor for something like this.
Yeah, like it's like a second wave thing. Like we got to handle it and then move it. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Keep rolling.
Meet with the project team to add a new and improved feature to replace the features that were rejected. Well, I'm not going with that because that will require a change request, change control board, and all that stuff. So, no.
Okay.
I'm not feeling that either. Work with the stakeholders to create a shared approach that will address the issue of the concern. I like C.
Okay.
And file a change request with the change control board in order to add budget to the baseline. All right, I'm okay with D, but let me read the question one more time. During a challenge shareholder meeting, the customer indicates that they will reject an iteration of the deliverable. Well, they're not saying why they're rejecting it. They're just saying that they're rejecting it. So work with the stakeholders to create a shared approach that will address the issue of the concern. I like C because we don't know what changes are needed. So what are we going to file and send to the change control board? So I'm going with C and I'm going to eliminate D. Final answer.
Okay. All right, Eric's on C. Ryan, if I said that there was a reason why D was absolutely not an option, what would that reason be?
I'm not adding budget to baseline. That's craziness. Like it's way, it's part of the violation of rules that you don't spend money that unnecessarily. So I would discount D. I think Eric's correct that I think C is ultimately the answer I would choose.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't necessarily discount B right off the bat. You know, if you were doing your 50-50 elimination, my 50-50 would be B and C. And I would probably pick C over B because I think involving the customer to like figure out what specifically they didn't like about this iteration's deliverable.
We want to
and
understand
getting their involvement to solve that in the future, I think is a little bit more of a correct answer than whipping the team into a frenzy for new features.
Yeah. So we want to understand from the customer, like, hey, why don't you like it, dude? Thanks for telling me now. I appreciate it. But like, let's get this conversation going. To take 2 steps back, Jim, I'll ask a question again in a different way. Like D, there's one thing that's got multiple words that that makes D not even on the table. What about D?
Wouldn't D not be on the table?
Jim. It's all right.
Hey, you know, I don't like adding budget when we don't know what the problem is, right? So we're just throwing money at something we don't know why. Why would we be adding budget when we don't know why the customer doesn't like what we're giving them?
Okay. All right. I'm on board. Like that's money doesn't come from trees, they say. Like if there was another reason. So let me ask it more pointedly. What is a change control board?
Yeah, that's the other issue is that since we're definitely talking about kind of agile here, change control board would come in play in the waterfall, and there's not a change control board. It's the team in agile, right?
Right. So there's no change control board to manage change. Like what's jump to waterfall? Just everybody take their brain and go blip, waterfall now. Like Jim, what is the purpose of a change control board in waterfall?
It's to approve changes to the scope, right?
Yeah, scope, schedule, cost baselines, like the official, like this is what we're doing, plans. And like in Agile, we are more fluid with like, hey, here's a backlog. This is what we think we're going to do. It's going to evolve. We're going to try to produce value as we see it, and we're going to evolve at it. So we don't have that formal, like, here's exactly what we're going to do for the next 6 months and exactly when it's going to be done. We don't have it. Like, it's not a thing. So there is no change control board. It doesn't mean we're willy-nilly with change. If we needed to make a big change in like what is most important, like for next iteration, who is the individual that has the authority to say, now this is the most important thing in Agile? Who's that person, Jim?
The product owner.
Yes, sir. So so the learning here right now, you're doing great. We're going to ask you more questions. In Agile, there's no change request, there's no change control board, there's no baseline. Easy peasy.
But also real quick with D, I remember you mentioning early on in some other training sessions that to be careful when they introduced a new term that wasn't in the problem. So they didn't talk about budget. Wouldn't that be another reason to discount?
Yeah, that's not a bad way to look at it. You're right. If I said it, I probably believe it. And like, yes, I think so. Like, yeah, because they're just talking about hey, they're going to reject it. Like, yeah, it's probably not related to budget. It's probably more understanding of like, why don't you like it? Like, what's the problem? And then we got to go from there. Like, so yes, I think that's a fair way to look at it. It's another way to eliminate it. Yes, sir. While we're talking, Wes, what do you like? Jim, tell me what your answer is after this, but Wes, what do you like?
I was like one of the other gentlemen, 50-50 between B and C, but I did go with B.
Okay. So you went with B with the project to add new features. So one of the things Eric said was change. We do a change control, a change request. We know that's not how we do it, but talk me through, Wes, how B solves the problem, please.
I mean, to me, it attacks the issue head on. So they're going to meet to improve the features to replace the features that were rejected. I don't know. It just seems maybe it's too.
So it's like something's wrong. Fix it. Something they do. Like the customer tells us, you're the Scrum Master, Project Manager, Product Owner, whatever you want to call them, different roles, whatever. Same kind of perspective in this one. Hey, the Project Manager. Okay, I won't speak so cavalierly. The Project Manager says to the team, I just talked to the customer and they told us that they're going to reject this thing that we're doing. So you've heard, hey, the customer said, I'm going to reject it, Wes. And you go, okay. You go to the team and say, we need something new. We need something better. We got to get, and it said we're rejected. That's past tense. It hasn't been yet, but will be, maybe. I'll let it. As far as order of operations, like, is that the first thing you think you'd do? They said, I hate it. You'd say, team, fix it, make it better.
Say why.
Say
why. I mean, you would want to know why.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, work with stakeholders. I mean, they could be a little loose in their language. What if Wes, or Jim, if we could change this word, we can't, to make the answer just like explode in a positive way in our face. What would that term be whittled down to and changed to? Like,
customer.
The customer, yeah. I would, if I was writing it, I probably would have said customer, and you would have been like, dude, this is such an easy question. Jim, what was your answer initially? Like, what did you think?
I thought C. I like C because it's basically eliminating A, B, and D.
Okay, that's cool. I've scribbled all over this. So cool. All right, so Eric, you're on C. Anything as you talk through, you let us off that like came to you like, oh, okay, I learned from this, or you're reaffirmed in C, or what you got, Eric?
No, I'm sticking with C, but yes, I did have my wires crossed, and then you cleared it up. I wasn't really thinking, right? I was mixing. Let's call it a hybrid, right?
There you go.
I wasn't all in agile when I was talking about the change control board. So thank you for bringing
that.
Yeah,
you're good, man.
To the forefront. Yeah, but I'm still definitely sticking with C.
Love it. So we got it right. Everybody got it right. So that's good. And so while I do, D is no good because of the reasons we discussed, no change control, etc. And then sending a letter to a request to the sponsor to say change the charter and stuff. We haven't understood, developed in a strategy or done anything. So we are in the BC neighborhood. So if you're in there, you're in the right neighborhood. So yay, good job. And then the thing we say is like, okay, so what should we do? What should we do first? What should we do next? They've just told us they don't like it. Hey, like, let's try to understand, get an approach to like get through this, overcome it. And one of them, once we do this first, the second thing might be like, okay, team, we need to do it different, better, or whatever. But it's going to be hard to tell the team what to do or help the team or put the team on a path to do it if we don't know what the deal is. So there we go. So always
Yeah,
like kind of look.
But I have a question regarding this. I'm always a little bit confused about project manager. When we get to be agile, trying to figure out, is it the Scrum Master or is it the product owner?
I mean, it's like ambiguous. I would prefer that they use like either product owner or Scrum Master. A lot of times, like it can be the Scrum Master. Yeah, I would say like, let's lean towards Scrum Master. The one limitation in doing that, like in this situation, is the Scrum Master is more of an advisor, guider, facilitator, helper, those kind of things. And is not really taking the bull by the horns. It's merely like bringing people together, highlighting issues, making people operating well. So when they say work with, I'd say like facilitate meetings so that the people get in the right room and do these things and the best decisions are made. But yes, as a general kind of guideline, we'll talk about project manager being like Scrum Master in an agile sense.
Yeah, because on the other end, if it was the product owner, it makes B a little bit more attractive because, it's regarding the features, which tends to be like stories in the agile stories.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that will be the product owner there if it was a product.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think like the first thing we might want to do is talk to the people that say they're going to reject it and say why. What can we do? What would be the best way to get past this or to get to a place that you're happy with? So the team is going to modify and execute on what the new learnings are, but the learnings will only come from the people that are upset. And while it's a little wide to say stakeholders, which is a general term, I would prefer customer or something. I do know what I think what they're saying is look toward the people that are upset that you're trying to serve instead of look internally, because the team is like executors. They're creatively solving the problem. If we don't understand the problem, then the solution that they make will not hit home. So we have to understand more before we go and change how we're doing stuff. Hopefully that gets you.
Fair enough. I still went
cool.
with you anyway. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, man, it's cool. All right. Good job, everybody.